What's up, fam? Billy D here, NASR Sports Bite for March 19th, 2026, setting you up for the NCAA basketball tournament, which did begin Tuesday and Wednesday with the first four play-in games. Our 8 teams are now down to 4, and they have filled out the final 4 teams of the 64-team pool. As we told you Tuesday night, Texas beat NC State 68-66. The Terriers of UMBC fell to Howard 86-83. Howard's first tournament victory ever. They advance, as did last night Miami of Ohio 89-79 over SMU. Miami of Ohio now 32-1. They were 31-0 when they were upset in their conference tourney. Now Miami of Ohio gets a tourney win. They advance to the pool of 64, 89-79 over SMU last night. And last night as well, Prairie View defeats Lehigh 67-55. So now the first 4 are all in. Texas, Howard, Miami of Ohio, and Prairie View. So now we have our 64. Let's do the bracket as I promised yesterday. This all gets started today at noon. The final games are 10:10 tonight, so you'll have basketball today and tomorrow, Friday, from noontime till after midnight. So turn on your radio if you're home, turn on your TVs, and enjoy the NCAA basketball tournament. So we have the 64 teams in all the regions, and I have done a bracket, and I'm going to give you my predictions. First round, starting today, number 1, this is the East region. Number 1, Duke will play 16th ranked Siena. I like Duke to advance. Number 8, Ohio State will play number 9, TCU. I like Ohio State to advance. So you have Duke and Ohio State facing off in that next round. St. John's plays Northern Iowa. St. John's the 5 seed. Northern Iowa the 12 seed. I like St. John's to advance. Kansas, number 4th ranked in the East region versus 13th ranked Cal Baptist. Obviously, I like Kansas, so that will see a St. John's Kansas second round matchup. Louisville, South Florida. 6th ranked Louisville versus 11th ranked South Florida, who won their conference championship, the American. And I like Louisville to advance over South Florida. Michigan State, 3rd ranked, plays 14th ranked North Dakota State. I like Michigan State, which will set up a Louisville-Michigan State matchup in the second round. UCLA, the 7th ranked team in the region, plays number 10 Central Florida. I like UCLA. And number 2, UConn. The Huskies play 15 Furman. That'll be a blowout. I like UConn to advance to play UCLA. So my second round in the East will be Duke, Ohio State, St. John's, Kansas, Louisville, Michigan State, UCLA, UConn. I like Duke to advance. I like Duke to defeat Ohio State. I like St. John's to defeat Kansas. I like Michigan State to defeat Louisville. I like UConn to defeat UCLA. That will put Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, and UConn in the Sweet 16. Now, before we move past the Sweet 16, let's go to the South region. Today's games, number 1, Florida plays Prairie View. Now, these games are all today and tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. So I like number 1, Florida to defeat Prairie View. I like number 8, Clemson versus number 9, Iowa. I like Iowa in that game to defeat Clemson. So I like Florida and Iowa moving to the second round. Number 5, Vanderbilt, who defeated Florida in the semifinal of the SEC, plays number 12, McNeese State. I like Vandy to roll. Number 4, Nebraska plays 13, Troy. I like Nebraska to roll, which will set up a Vandy-Nebraska second round matchup. So I have Florida, Iowa in the second round in the South region. I have Vandy, Nebraska in the second round in the South region. North Carolina, who is 6th ranked, versus 11 VCU. I like North Carolina. I like number 3 Illinois to roll over number 14 Penn. That will set up a North Carolina-Illinois matchup in the second round. Number 7 St. Mary's versus number 10 Texas A&M. I like St. Mary's here. Number 2, Houston versus 15th ranked Idaho. I like Houston to roll. So Houston will face St. Mary's in the second round. I like Florida to defeat Iowa. I like I like Nebraska to defeat Vanderbilt. I like Illinois to defeat North Carolina. And I like Houston to defeat St. Mary's. So in the Sweet 16, in the East and South, I have Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, UConn, Florida, Nebraska, Illinois, Houston. Now, this is just 8 teams, because we're only doing this region. We're doing the East and the South. So that sets us up. We're at the Sweet 16. We have Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, UConn, Florida, Nebraska, Illinois, Houston. Let's do the West. First round West. These games are all today and tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. Number 1, Arizona versus 16th ranked Long Island. I like Arizona to advance, obviously, in a rout. Number 8, Villanova versus number 9, Utah State. I like Utah State to advance. Number 5, Wisconsin versus number 12, High Point. I like Wisconsin to rout. Arkansas, 4th ranked versus 13th ranked Hawaii. I like Arkansas to win easily. BYU, Texas. 6th ranked BYU versus 11th ranked Texas. Again, this is in the Western region. I like BYU. Number 3, Gonzaga plays number 14th ranked Kennesaw State. I like Gonzaga to romp here. So that would set up so far Arizona, Utah State in the second round, Wisconsin, Arkansas, BYU, Gonzaga. The Miami Hurricanes have a tough one here against 10th seeded Missouri, who will play in St. Louis and actually be one of the only teams that actually plays a home game in their building. I still like Miami to defeat 10th ranked Missouri and number 2 ranked Purdue to roll over 15th ranked Queens. So Miami to face Purdue in the second round. In the Midwest region, Michigan plays 16th Howard, making their first trip to the NCAAs, and it will be a rough trip, as I like Michigan to blow them out. Michigan will advance to the second round over Howard. Number 8 ranked Georgia plays St. Louis in a tight game. I like Georgia, so I like Michigan and Georgia to face off in the second round. Number 5, Texas Tech versus number 12, Akron, also in the Midwest region. I like Texas Tech to defeat Akron. I like 4th ranked Alabama over 13th ranked Hofstra, setting up a Texas Tech-Alabama matchup in the second round. Number 6, Tennessee versus number 11, Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio's dream season will come to an end. I like Tennessee to defeat them. 3rd-ranked Virginia will roll easily over 14th-ranked Wright State, setting up a Tennessee-Virginia matchup in the second round. Number 7th-ranked Kentucky will defeat 10th-ranked Santa Clara. And number 2-ranked Iowa State will defeat 15th-ranked Tennessee State to set up a Kentucky-Iowa State matchup in the second round. Okay, second round of the West. I like Arizona to defeat Utah State. I like Wisconsin to be defeated by Arkansas. I like Arkansas over Wisconsin. I like Gonzaga to beat BYU, and I like Purdue to defeat the Miami Hurricanes, unfortunately, even though that'll break my Hurricane heart. In the Midwest, I like Michigan to defeat Georgia. I like Alabama to defeat Texas Tech. I like Virginia to beat Tennessee, and I like Kentucky to beat Iowa State. So, my Sweet 16. In the West and the Midwest, I have Arizona, Arkansas, Arizona, Arkansas, Gonzaga, Purdue, Michigan, Alabama, Virginia, Kentucky. In the East and South, I have Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, UConn, Florida, Nebraska, Illinois, Utah. So let's do the East and the South here. Sweet 16. I like Duke to defeat Rick Pitino's St. John's Red Storm. I like UConn to keep rolling and defeat Michigan State. I like Florida over Nebraska, and I like Houston to defeat Illinois, which gives us in the East and South Duke, UConn, Florida, Houston. In the West and Midwest, I like Arizona to defeat Arkansas. I like Gonzaga to defeat Purdue. I like Michigan to defeat Bama. And I like Kentucky to defeat Virginia. That gives us Arizona, Gonzaga, Michigan, Kentucky. So my Elite Eight is Arizona, Gonzaga, Michigan, Kentucky, Duke, UConn, Florida, Houston. I like the Duke Blue Devils to beat the Huskies and advance to the Final Four. I like the Florida Gators, the defending champs, to advance to the Final Four to defeat the Houston Cougars. So I have Duke and Florida. I like Arizona Wildcats to defeat Gonzaga and Michigan to beat Kentucky. So my Final Four is Duke, Florida, Arizona, Michigan. I like Arizona to defeat Michigan to advance to the final. I like Duke to beat Florida to advance to the final. So my national championship game is Duke and Arizona. Duke versus Arizona. And who do I like in the national championship game? Duke or Arizona? Oh, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. And I am going to pick the Duke Blue Devils to win it all. Duke, Arizona in the Natty. This is a tough one. I'm really conflicted here. I could go either way, but I'll go with the prestigious winning formula. It's been a while for Arizona since they've won it all, over 20 years, but they've got a great squad this year, and I could easily see them winning. But if Duke is healthy, if they're healthy in the backcourt and they have their guys 100%, by the time they reach the final, I think they will win. If not, I'd take Arizona. But my final is Duke, Arizona, and gun to my head, I'm going to pick the Duke Blue Devils to win it all. So there is my whole bracket, all laid out. I have Duke and Arizona in the Natty. My Final Four is Duke, Florida, Arizona, Michigan. So let's see how close I come, how good I do. I have some fun wagering on all this stuff because the NCAA tournament is a great time to wager on all these rounds and have some fun with it. I will be doing so responsibly, as always, as I tell you guys to always bet responsibly. So that is our NCAA bracket completely filled out. I have the Duke Blue Devils and the Arizona Wildcats in the national championship. I have Duke, Florida, Arizona, Michigan in the Final Four. That's what we got there. Now, quickly, before I get out of here, I'm doing this from work today because I really have my schedule, running my businesses have been hectic, to say the least. Not a lot of time to be with you guys and do these shows. Okay, the NHL tonight. We have a lot going on. And listen, the races are heating up. The East is really the better race because all the teams are great. You're going to have a team that could finish 15 games over 500 and not make the playoffs. There are teams in the West and the Pacific like Anaheim, and the Anaheim Ducks wouldn't even be in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, yet they're in first place in the Pacific Division. We'll get to that. Tonight's matchups. Winnipeg at Boston, 7 p.m. Big game for the Bruins. Islanders at Ottawa, 7 p.m. Also, big game for the Islanders as they are, clinging to that. They are 1 point behind Pittsburgh, third in the Metropolitan, after Pittsburgh got a overtime point, losing to Carolina last night, 6-5. So, a lot of pressure. Any team that loses 2 or 3 games could drop right out of the playoff mix. Maybe not out of the mix, but out of the actual playoff standing. So we have Winnipeg at Boston, 7 p.m. Islanders at Ottawa, 7 p.m. Another game with big implications. The Montreal Canadiens at Detroit at 7. The Rangers at the red-hot Columbus Blue Jackets, who will not let up. That's at 7. And obviously, the Blue Jackets are 1 point out of a playoff spot. The Blackhawks at Minnesota Wild, 7:30. No implications there. The Wild comfortably in a playoff spot. Chicago season's over. Seattle still playing for their playoff lives at Nashville. That's at 8 p.m. The Florida Panthers now playing the string out. I think they're even trying to tank, so they get that first-round draft pick back there at Edmonton in a rematch of the Stanley Cup Finals. Neither team is as good as they were last year. The Panthers look to be playing out the string as good health has never been full health has never been restored to the two-time defending champs, and they've constantly dealt with guys out of the lineup, and they still are. But it's too little too late now as the Panthers are 13 points out of the playoff spot with only 15 games to go for them. 10 o'clock tonight, the Lightning, 2 points behind Buffalo for first place in the Atlantic at Vancouver. Also, the Utah Mammoth fighting for, they're currently in a playoff spot at the Vancouver the Las Vegas Golden Knights And that game is in Vegas at 10 p.m. is the puck drop. Vegas also in a playoff position. The Buffalo Sabres, probably the story of the NHL this year. The first place Buffalo Sabres, 42-20-6 at the Sharks at 10 p.m. The Philadelphia Flyers are at the LA Kings at 10:30. That is your playoff. That is your schedule in the NHL tonight. We're going to take a look at the standings right now. Your top three in the East, the Sabres with 90 points. I'm sorry, the Lightning now 4 points behind Buffalo. The Sabres 42-20-6 with 90 points. Tampa 41-24-4 with 86 points. 2 points behind Buffalo for first in the Atlantic. The Montreal Canadiens 17 games over the mark, 37-20-10. 84 points are in third. The top three in the Metropolitan, the Hurricanes, with the best record in the East still at 43-19-6, 92 points. The Penguins, who have just been another one of the surprise stories of the season, like Buffalo, 34-18-16, 84 points. They got a loser point last night in overtime, losing to Carolina 6-5. The New York Islanders, 15 games over, 39-24-5. A pivotal game against Ottawa tonight. They are 1 point behind Pittsburgh for home ice in that first round. And again, these teams are only 2 and 3 points comfortably in playoff position, so they need to keep winning. The wild cards in the East are the Bruins and Red Wings, both with 82 points with identical records of 37-23-8, 14 games over. Boston and Detroit clinging to the last two wild card spots in the East with 82 points. Now Columbus, 35-21-11, just 1 point behind both. And just 2 points behind the Islanders for third, and just 3 points behind the Penguins for second in the Metropolitan. So Ottawa's got 77 points. They're 5 points out. The Caps and the Flyers are 6 points out. Those are really the only teams left in the mix. I don't really take the Flyers and Caps seriously. Ottawa, if they lose tonight, they can drop 7 points back. So big game between the Ottawa Senators hosting the New York Islanders tonight. And of course, the Blue Jackets got a favorable matchup tonight, the New York Rangers. So the heat is on in the Eastern Conference. I mean, the only team in the Eastern Conference with a losing record are the New York Rangers at 28-32-8, the worst record in the East. Now, in the West, really heated up after Dallas's 2-1 victory over Colorado in extra time last night in a shootout, I do believe it went to. Dallas is now only 2 points behind Colorado. Colorado is 44-13-10. 98 points. Dallas 43-15-10, 96 points. After the start that Colorado got off to in the season that they have sustained for the most part, it's amazing that the Dallas Stars are about to catch them. Shows the strength of the Central Division in the Western Conference. Minnesota Wild also 39-18-12 with 90 points. That's your top three in the Central of the West. The Pacific, not so much. The Anaheim Ducks have been a great story with rookie Beckett Seneca, 37-24-4, 78 points. In first place right now, 1 point over the Edmonton Oilers, 34-26-9, 77 points. These teams wouldn't even be in the playoffs if they were in the Eastern Conference. Nor would the number 3 seed Vegas Golden Knights at 31-23-14, 76 points. So that's your top three in the Pacific. Anaheim, Edmonton, Vegas Golden Knights. Your top three in the Central, which is the best division in hockey, Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota. While the Eastern Conference is the stronger conference, the Central Division is the strongest division with Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota as your three. Obviously, we said Anaheim, Edmonton, and Vegas are your top three in the Pacific, and your wild cards are currently the Utah Mammoth at 35-26, 76 points, and the Seattle Kraken are now tied with the LA Kings for 71 points and the final wild card spot. Kraken have the advantage to percentage points. But it's a little tight now. The Kings, who are tied, and the Sharks are only 1 point out of the last playoff spot, and the Nashville Predators are 2 points out. So things heating up. Actually, the Winnipeg Jets are only 4 points out. So obviously a softer division. Those teams wouldn't be sniffing the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. But still some life for Winnipeg, Nashville, San Jose, LA. Utah and Seattle hold the final 2 spots in the West. So again, this is why we have so many really pivotal matchups to watch tonight. And obviously the Winnipeg-Boston game is big. Winnipeg could get to within 2 points in the Western Conference of a playoff spot. Boston trying to hold on to that last wild card. Ottawa is currently 5 points out of the final wild card, 6 points behind the Islanders. So that's a pivotal game. Isles at Ottawa at 7. Montreal, Detroit. Detroit's in the wild card. Montreal's in the 3 seed, but only 2 points separate them. So Montreal at Detroit at 7 p.m. is big. The Rangers can play spoiler at Columbus tonight. Columbus only 1 point out. So just a ton of good stuff. Even at 10 o'clock, the Lightning, who are 4 points behind Buffalo for the top spot. And both of those teams are in action tonight. Tampa trying to reclaim first place. Buffalo is at San Jose. That's a big game because, again, the Sharks are only 1 point out of the final spot in the West. Buffalo trying to keep the 1 seed in their division in the Atlantic. Just a ton of great stuff going on in the NHL. We're down to the final 14, 15 games for most teams, and, it's getting tight. The playoff race is tight. So enjoy the NHL tonight. Enjoy the NCAA tournament, which will be in full swing today, starting in 30 minutes, as well as tomorrow. Thursday and Friday, there'll be a ton of games. Enjoy. I'm Billy D. Thank you for watching NASR. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, North American Sports Report. And as I always say, please follow me, Billy DiNapoli, on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, all that stuff. My shows also air from there, or shorts will air from there. So please follow me on all those sites. I'm Billy DiNapoli. I will see you guys later.